Welcome back to another episode of Light Beer, Dark Money. I'm Sean Noble.
And I'm Chris Clements.
And we've got a repeat guest.
Mr. Chris DeSimone.
The great Chris
The great
DeSimone.
Chris. Yes, the greatest.
Yeah.
The omnipotent. The one who knows all about our fair old Pueblo to the south of us.
That's right.
Chris,
How
how
you
are
doing,
you?
Or I was too dumb not to move, so it's either one, guys.
Well,
Well-
as some of our listeners who caught your last show know that you were not exactly in Tucson. He's north.
That's
He's in
true.
the other Tucson,
The other Tucson.
otherwise known as Oro Valley.
Oro Valley.
And just filed his paperwork to run for the Oro Valley City Council. Congratulations.
That's true.
That is so. So what? Now, having just gone through the decision-making process about running for office.
Yeah, I don't know if you got the news flash, but Sean is not going to be running
Not
for
gonna
David
be running
Schweikert's
for-
seat here in District 1
Not going to
in
be
our
running for
fair
Congress.
state.
So
Well, now we're down to 17 other possibilities
yeah,
for David
that's right.
seats.
So because I've been in the business for 30 years. The question I always ask is, what has possessed you to have your brain freeze and run for office? And so I'll ask Chris DeSimone that question. What has
That's
possessed you?
beautiful. It's a beautiful question, Sean. So I've always had it in my heart to run for office. But what happened was there's a couple of things. Over the years, I have learned how to do it and how not to do it. I have talked about it, interviewed, wrote a column about all of these bad decision makers by private and public sector leaders. But what also happened is the city of Tucson is not coming back.
Mm.
So when a great Democrat named Jesse Lugo, who is one of the most involved, best
Yeah.
guys, used to own a service station in Tucson. He does a bike in the box telethon. We raise money to do new bikes for kids, 500 new bikes for Christmas. Just the best guy ever. And he gets poleaxed in a Democrat primary against Selena Barajas, who's just a lefty nothing who knows Regina Romero. I said to myself, that is finally the final nail in Tucson's coffin. There's no coming back. And then my brain started saying, not just this run for office for Oro Valley is not just to make Oro Valley the best community. Like there's signs all over Oro Valley that says we're a community of excellence. Where I've been rating us as a community of okay, but there's a bigger picture at play here in my brain, and I'm starting to get a lot of momentum, which is a very aggressive annexation campaign that's part of this, because
Yeah.
Oro Valley is about growth or no growth. There's always one slate against the other. I'm kind of getting tired of that. But phase one is to make sure executive staff is the best they can be. I need more A and B level people. I got a lot of B's and C's we need to improve that. We have the best cops in Arizona.
Oh, for sure.
Oro Valley. And what I want to do is part of this plan is I want to annex the entire Catalina foothills. So any of your friends that live north of River or Orange Grove will be part of Oro Valley in the next couple of years.
Well, and we touched on it on our last show, but it's long overdue, right? It's one of these things that it's such a no-brainer that I'm just confused and perplexed as to how and why Oro Valley didn't think of it sooner.
It's something where you have to have it's not, there's a boldness to it, right? But at the same time, I'm a different bear, right?
Yeah.
I understand all the players and I understand all the dynamics better than anyone in Oro Valley. And it was time. And the other part of this is too, guys, once I got off the FCC airwaves of radio and went all digital in January,
Yeah.
Wake Up with Chris DeSimone on Live the Dream Media Network, I was now free. There was no equal time bullcrap about running for office.
Yeah. So
so everything aligned.
So update us on what the strategy is behind the annexation push, because we know a little bit about that up here in the great, the great country of Maricopa, and that had its own annexation wars back in the early 90s. Was led by a Republican mayor here in Phoenix, with Skip Rimza. And his whole strategy to refresh everybody's memory was to annex as many of the commercial centers as they could, and would bring in the residents kicking and screaming. His words.
Yeah. So one of the flaws of the Grijalva Ekstrom Chuck Huckleberry machine over the last 40 years is they've always discouraged incorporation and annexation. So Pima County is 40% unincorporated, where Maricopa is like 96% incorporated.
Yes,
it's in the high
correct.
90s. And you can see, because Chuck and Raul and Dan Ekstrom wanted the control, but as you guys know, and a lot of your educated listeners, that state shared revenues do not support that really in the numbers. So when Tucson always bitches and moans, "Oh, we don't get enough money out of the they say the Grand Imperial County of Maricopa, right?"
Yes.
The idea is, if you actually had real incorporation and annexation of different parts of Pima County, then just by formula, you'd have more money.
Yeah, it would solve so many different problems. And this is an issue that's been the case now for 20 years. I can remember going to these confabs with Trio and the Tucson Business Club or whatever it was, Tucson Breakfast Club, where we'd be talking about how HERF funds, which are highway user funds, were not being properly allocated to to Pima County. And it all has to do with incorporation.
Well, that's part of it. And also, Chuck would not use the HERF and VLT funds properly.
Yes,
so
exactly.
So what happened is, VLT funds you can use for non-road stuff. Okay. So what happened was, other counties were actually taking care of their roads, such as Maricopa, right? And they got the legislature to change it that if you want to use it for other stuff, you could. Well, Chuck would take the VLT money and use it on stuff that wasn't roads, even though most of his roads were rated horrible by himself. And then he would pay overhead of the transportation department out of HERF funds, which, like Marana, who gets their crap straight, they actually pay the overhead out of their normal revenues, and HERF goes to roads. And so not only did you have the lack of money, but Chuck was, of course, playing games as usual.
Of course.
Well, they named a bike path after him, so that's one great thing.
Well, the good thing is, so what happened was, with all the misery of the drug and the violence and the vagrants and the homeless and what's going on in Tucson, because it's near the washes, Chuck's Loop is constantly people are constantly under attack. A poor guy 6 weeks ago got stabbed in front of 90 other cyclists on the loop and died. Okay. And the news for a while, if anything bad happened on the loop, they would say a local exercise path. And if it was something good, they would say it was the Chuck Huckleberry Loop. And it was just, so now we've broken the tide. Now people get stabbed on the Chuck Huckleberry Loop. So they're growing up a little bit.
It's unbelievable, and so much of the policies that have been pursued down in Tucson are kind of reminiscent of what Comrade Mamdani wants to pursue in New York City. He's got a blueprint.
I've actually done some interviews with podcasters in the New York City area explaining that Tucson has already done this. We've done the free transportation. It's a nightmare. Right. We've done, we have Laura Conover, our county attorney, is literally, if she could have no cash bail for everyone, she would do it. Right.
Yeah.
And so I tried to give him the scared straight tour from Tucson, but it didn't work. So Mamdani's my fault, guys. I apologize.
Well, now that, as the New York Post reported this week, there's even a deeper connection to the community of Tucson. That's former Mayor Bill de Blasio, or de Bloviate, as we like to call him, is having, shall we say, sinful relationships with the married mayor of South Tucson.
So she's married, and he's.
No, I don't. I have to clarify, Chris.
Okay, sorry. Please correct me.
Let's get our smutty stories correct, my friend. All right. Roxy Valenzuela, the mayor of South Tucson, and a member of the RTA PAG board, is not married.
Okay.
She does have 2 kids. And one of my favorite parts of the New York Times story about this is they found her baby daddy, who's a total lefty activist named Billy Peard. I don't know if you ever heard that name before, but he had to I can't believe he responded to, well, here's Roxy's baby daddy. What's she think about this? I mean, it was just hilarious. So, but remember he dumped Bernie Sanders representative for Roxy.
Yeah.
So that bill, as Kramer said, he's a tomcat.
Yeah.
Well, it just seems like the connections between New York and our fair old Pueblo just continue to grow.
When you get, again, we have the craziest stories. Look under this guy who is when Richard Fimbres got too sick to finish out his term on the city council.
Yeah.
Look under a guy named Rocky Perez, Rocque Perez. Just Google him and put in his name and OnlyFans in a Google search.
Yeah, I'll wait on that.
Thank you.
I don't need to see without what that will take me.
Don't do it, Noble. I don't want to see that laptop of yours just burn up.
Blow up.
Oh my God! This is the stuff that we post all the time. You just can't make it up. You can't make it up even if you tried.
But this is back to the Oro Valley run, guys.
Yeah.
Well, I'm to a point now where I need to insulate the corners of Tucson away from the nuttiness.
Yeah.
Okay. Because the next phase is I'm in hard research right now on how do we form a new county.
Yeah. You
All
talked
right?
a little bit about that last show.
Yeah, and that's the third phase of this is how do I get out of Pima County? And because they're the most broken, one of the weirdest broken counties in America. So it was fun trying to fix you guys. I don't know how long Steve Christie's going to keep running either. And he could, someone else. I could have all 12 seats held by leftist Democrats.
Yeah,
that's not a good world.
He's the lone sane voice on County Board of Supervisors.
You are correct.
Yeah, maybe the only. Yeah, exactly, the only sane voice on the and then where is the business community such that it is just completely and totally gone at this point?
Well, there wasn't much there in the first place.
No, there's no leadership.
So you remember when Joe Higgins, and I did watch the Higgins episode. You guys did a nice job with that.
Thanks.
Well, I mean,
When Joe and I,
that whole
Joe and I
episode went
first-
in a completely different direction. I thought we'd talk more about Tucson, but we talked a lot about charter schools and what he's doing, which
No,
is tremendous.
that's Joe's coping mechanism for Tucson is working on education, as we
Yes,
say.
it carries him elsewhere.
Yep, correct. But when Joe and I first started, the losers at Trio/Sun Corridor, now the Chamber Door, or whatever the hell they're calling themselves
Chamber
now,
door.
right? They did they spent, I don't know, a couple of $100,000, and they did a review of an analysis of why Tucson's so bad for business. And the number one thing was lack of public sector leadership. And number two was a lack of private sector leadership.
Wow.
And what happened is we saw it, right? So I love Ted Maxwell, right? But his group is pretty much useless.
Yeah.
Right? Because what happens is if anyone's, as you know, if anyone's involved in development, right, you're absolutely neutralized by the fact that you can't get deals done if you need a change in zoning or change of use or something. So that knocks out, unless you're Don Diamond's crew who knows how to play that with the local Ds, right? Or you're someone just picking off the bones of a dying animal. So why blow it now by coming out for a real candidate against one of their handpicked people, right? Because you got some sort of contract, or you're some lawyer who represents the chosen ones and all this other thing. Why would you mess with it? But you're literally just picking off the bones of a dying animal called Tucson, Pima County. And I once in a while on the air, just to have fun, I read campaign finance reports on who donated to the fools that have ruined the community, and there's some surprising names on there.
Yeah.
So the Tucson business community leadership is useless. Just absolutely. The chamber door is useless. Think about it. You took Joe Snell, who's useless, right? And then Michael Guyman, who's a nice guy, but I mean, he's got cojones the size of very small grapes when it comes to this, right? And you smushed them together.
Well, Michael, yeah, very nice guy. I like Michael,
He's a
but
very nice guy. Great bow ties.
but he's milking the chamber network, so to speak. I mean, he's got a decent job, and every time you
he's
see
making six
Michael,
figures.
he's either ribbon cutting or he's at some other chamber network event, meaning the collection of chambers either around the state or around the nation, doing his little networking.
So I had some friends of mine who are like on the board or whatever, and they go, "Man, he came out like a tiger at our meeting." I go, "So I said, when is he going to come out of the business advocacy closet and say it in public?"
Yeah.
Right? I mean, what do you got left to lose? Right? I mean, it's all falling apart. I got drug guys who just take dumps in the middle of people's restaurants' lobbies, right, at will. No one gets prosecuted.
Do tell. Where did that happen?
Oh, that's happened in multiple restaurants. So,
Downtown?
have you ever had Josh? You ever have Josh Jacobson on from the Tucson Crime Free Coalition?
No, we've not.
That's a future guest for you. Josh is part of the guys who own the Lucky Wishbone restaurants
Okay.
in Tucson. Okay, and he is. I always call him Joe Higgins. He's a young Joe Higgins, as we say, right? That he wants to fix Tucson, and he has a more vested. He's got real estate and businesses in Tucson. It's hard just to close up multiple Lucky Wishbones and go move someplace else. And he'll tell you. I had his members. I did a 3-hour show called "Explain the Pain," and every 15 minutes I had a new person talking about what they're putting up with the druggies of Tucson. Right, the guy from Edmunds Automotive's telling me about one of his guys getting choked out by a druggie while he's trying to change someone's oil underneath a car. Right, I got the people from Evergreen Cemetery talking about grave robbing.
Oh my gosh!
At the Evergreen Cemetery. Right, I got all these things going on. It's we call it Pliskin Acres, right? That part of Tucson, but now from Snake Pliskin and Escape from New York, right? That's what Tucson's turned into. So it's, and again, so this big thing comes with the data center, right? This Beale Infrastructure wants to build out on the southeast side of town.
Project Blue.
And it did. And what happened was that they didn't understand that Tucson's so desperate for a win that people will take advantage of them. Worldview did it. Caterpillar did it, right? That Caterpillar building that they keep saying is so wonderful, no one's in it.
Yeah.
No one works in it. It's supposed to hold 500 employees. There's like 10, maybe 20, right? It's a $50 building that Rio Nuevo built that supposedly they're collecting rent on, and Ducey threw $3 million of state money at it. And that's where we're at. So Tucson's on its knees, very desperate, very easy. We call it beer goggles economic development. Who's ever going to go to bed with us at the end of the night, we're ready to go.
Oh, that's so classic. Well, I mean, what all of this sums up is your race for the council in Oro Valley is critical.
Yeah,
because it really could be what saves Southern Arizona.
Yeah, that's the two big races is that. And of course, make sure Mayor John Post is a great guy from Marana. I would suggest him also to come on your show one day. And he took over for our friend Mayor Ed Honey, who passed away unexpectedly about a year ago.
Yeah, Ed was a good guy.
And, so he's got, because of the way that worked with him taking Ed's seat and appointing someone, I got five out of 7 seats up in Marana that are open.
Wow.
And I got to make sure that John maintains the majority there. And we have a good crew of people, 4 votes in Oro Valley that are ready to move ahead on a new way of thinking because what's happening in Oro Valley, the incumbents, a lot of the incumbents are very no growth. And what's happening is that now, as you guys know, the cost of doing business everywhere, including governments, getting more expensive, more expensive. And so they're just looking at ticky-tack fees to put some band-aids on some gaping wounds. And I feel like we need to think bigger. So that's why when I've had some people smarter than me look at what my state shared revenue will look like when we annex the foothills. And so I can provide the foothills with a first-class police force
Absolutely.
to take care of their beautiful homes. I'll still get more than enough state shared revenue to not just to cover that, but at the same time cover bills that I need to cover in Oro Valley. And the city of Tucson's helping me out because Chris knows this well. The corner of Tanque Verde and Sabino Canyon has become a crime infested hole. Okay.
Ugh.
Because of the free bus back
Yep.
to Mamdani again.
Yeah.
So Chad Kazmar and the police department identified like the top 4 or 5 most dangerous bus shelters you can stand at. And the bus shelter in front of the Udall Center, the Udall Park, right there, is considered one of the top 5 most dangerous shelters you can be at in Tucson.
And that's
horrific.
When I lived in Tucson, that's where I lived. Right around the corner from there. That's where a
Right,
lot of people
and
live.
the Tucson Country Club,
Yep.
and Bruce and those guys have asked me, "Can you take us in on the annexation?" I'm like, "Hey, dude, that's a little close.
It gets down
That's a
there.
little close to the heat."
Well, I mean, they've rejected the Tucson annexation. Well, Tucson was never serious about it because they know how many Republicans exist in Tucson Country Club, and so the more that you can, the more county commercial areas going back to our friend Skip Rimza that you can take in, the more and show results and get that tax revenue into Oro Valley, the more the residents will come in kicking and screaming.
So think about it. We've never taken. We're going to take Ina and Oracle, which is the busiest commercial intersection in Pima County.
For those who don't know, I mean, it's amazing that Oro Valley does not have that. It makes absolutely no sense. It made no sense for years. You should go all the way down the river.
We did a weird thing when we went around it on both sides. Like we had to take Tohono Chulin and Westward Look.
Yeah.
But we didn't take the intersection.
Which makes zero sense.
Right. So the commercial centers I want to take is Orange Grove and La Cholla, where the Lily's Oriental Market Shopping Center is.
Yeah.
Right. I want to take, of course, Orange Grove and Oracle that has that huge Hobby Lobby that just cranks money.
Yeah.
Right. Then I'm going to take the La Encantada Mall.
Absolutely. Right? That should all be Oro Valley.
Right. And then I pick up 4 resorts. I pick up Canyon Ranch, Lowe's, La Paloma, and Hacienda del Sol.
Absolutely.
Right. And so it's time, Chris. As you know, I've tried, me, Joe, a whole bunch of allies, Jesse Lugo, Gary Davidson, Sean McCluskey. I can keep going. There's a cast of hundreds that we've tried. And now it's time to say, Tucson, you're on your own, kids. We're not going to try to save you from yourself anymore. And,
well, ironically enough, this community had to make those same decisions back in the 90s when a lot of annexation was happening. It was really being driven not so much by Phoenix. It was being driven by Scottsdale, Mesa, Glendale, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And Phoenix had to get its act together. And that's why Phoenix is kind of at this sort of, weird, has this weird area going north because Paradise Valley and Scottsdale, I don't know who fired the first shot, but they were going like gangbusters to capture all this other growth. You guys
can correct me on this because you're up there, but my understanding is over the years, the Maricopa County, when there's someone who wants to build something on unincorporated land, they would say, well, this is closest to blank. You need to get incorporated by them. This needs to be annexed by them first. Then we'll talk to you. Does that sound right to you guys?
Yeah, that happens a lot.
Yeah.
Yep, and that's good.
Because Maricopa County's like, we don't want to provide the services there anymore, so you need to get incorporated.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's
just good governance. That's just good governance.
Right.
Like, why should we increase our costs when this would be better off for a city or a town next to it?
Adjacent to stuff that's already there.
Want to improve the lives of the people living there. We're the county. We're the overseer. We're not a city or a town.
Well, you know how they have the
Pima County is totally the opposite.
So you know how they have that we're open for business, like different cities want to say that. Tucson is closed for business. The city of Tucson is closed for business. right? And the meme we keep using is the mayor from Jaws. Remember where he says, "It's a great Memorial Day weekend. Everyone should come out and swim." That's Mayor Romero talking about opening a small business inside of her town right now.
Well, then I just read in the Arizona Red Star that the county and the mayor are fighting about something. What's that all about? Rex and Rahina are having a little lover
So
spat.
again, I don't trust Rex and Rahina as far as I can throw your studio. So I don't know if this is just theater or not, because in the end, Rahina runs the entire gambit. Okay? Rahina runs the Board of Soups.
Oh,
Don't ever think she doesn't. Okay? They all bow down to her.
that is
So
amazing.
Rex, this feels like a save face in a way, but they got into, quote, a squabble. It started with the Project Blue stuff a little bit, where the county, again, they're desperate for a deal. So their economic development people start working the deal. Then they get the economic development director, Barbara Coffey, and they get her involved with the deal, right? Then they get lawyer to the stars. Carrie Sylvan is the lawyer for Beal Construction. So they made the proper hire there because she understands the intricacies, right? And then what happens is people are saying, oh, this data center is going to use some water. Now, Beal Construction offered originally to build a effluent pipe that went for miles that would get there eventually in a year or two, and then they would use effluent, but they would be using groundwater for the first year or two. And as you know, water is precious, as it should be. But what happened was the mayor's base went insane on that and also the electricity because the timing of it was, again, no one thinks strategically around here. It just happened to be 2 days after they announced the data center, the county's cutting a deal with them. TEP drops their request for a 14% bump to the Corporation Commission.
Yeah.
Right? So then everyone goes nuts. It's some of the craziest meetings you ever saw, where the lefties are there yelling in the middle of these meetings, right? And so Romero had to save face in this. So they took it to the meeting. The city voted against doing anything that the annexation or the water, and they wanted out of the deal. And what happened was Romero threw Pima County, their economic development people, and her own economic development people, quote, for keeping them in the dark. Even though I've heard this first came about because she's the one who wanted Beal Construction to do this in the first place.
Yeah.
So anyway, Barbara Coffey, who's the economic development director for the last so many years, actually quit after getting thrown under the bus by Romero. So that's the first little thing about the county and the city was Beal. And then the other part of it is that it had to do with they're having a joint meeting on November 18th about homelessness and druggies. And I guess Romero said some things that the county isn't stepping up to help because nothing's ever her fault, right?
Yeah.
So she said, the county and the state have to finally step up and help us with this. And the county has at least done like the transition center near the jail to have at least a place for some of the cops to take people that they have a choice of judge or treatment kind of thing.
Yeah.
So they've done a little bit more than the city, but not much. But so after she threw them under the bus about Project Blue and now that they don't help enough with the druggy homeless, that's why supposedly Rex did his big statement of, we're not going to take this. But to me, Rahina will just grind her foot her high heel a little more in his groin, and everyone will be fine.
The whole thing,
the Grahava machine marches on even with his death.
Yeah. Tucson does give you the sense of that, the old guy, get off my lawn.
Oh, there's a lot of that.
That's part of the face of it, Sean. We're a Pima County, city of Tucson is like a banana republic from a movie.
Yeah.
That's
right.
That's what it is. Now, so look at Adelita Grijalva, right? So she wins. We had 27% turnout for her special election in CD7. She cries and moans about how she's not getting sworn in fast enough during a government shutdown.
Yeah.
Not understanding, I guess, leverage, but it's okay. She's fundraising off it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And then the first thing she does is vote against 923,000 Arizonans getting their SNAP benefits.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like,
Yeah.
this shutdown needs to end so that I can get sworn in and vote to not end the shutdown.
Not end the shutdown. Yeah.
It's true, right? It's
like,
Sean, it's insane, man.
What?
Right, but it's classic Grijalva, which is classic leftist, right? Which is the idea that they keep marketing themselves as the defender of the downtrodden, as they keep kneeing you in the groin.
Yeah.
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 And making money off page.
Totally true.
Completely.
Totally true.
They're the biggest phonies in politics.
Well,
So the good thing is we still have the best Mexican food in America
Yes.
in the city of Tucson.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
That's true.
That is true.
That is true.
So where can people find you? I mean, this is going to be a big race. There's some big ideas here, and what you're proposing from a public policy standpoint is long overdue.
Well,
We've been talking about for 20 years.
And I'm being really serious to our listeners when I say this. This may seem like something that's just way off and not applicable to you if you don't live in Oro Valley or the Tucson area, but it does because if you care about the conservative movement and conservative governance, we need to have people like Chris in positions to show what that looks like.
Yes.
At even the small scales.
Yeah. And
because
we need
that
communities
expands.
growing with those type of policies in place.
Yeah. So this is a race that everybody should participate in. Give you money. Where do they go to
I'll
give you
add
money?
one more thing to Sean's wise words. So in the old days, Pima County was when you ran statewide, right? And we got statewide elections coming up next year. You just had to lose by a little bit in Pima County, right, to win a statewide race. And if a Democrat could pick up Pima County hard, they would win. Janet Napolitano, I believe, is an example of this.
Mm-hmm.
But as we move forward, if Pima County and City of Tucson keeps devolving, what will happen is you'll have more blue votes than ever accumulating in the city.
Yeah.
And as we're trying to win statewide elections, that's just another headwind we don't need.
Yep.
Great point.
So DeSimone for OV or Chris for OV, Chris for OroValley.com or DeSimone for OroValley.com. My geeks told me DeSimone for Oro Valley for technical things, but I didn't want to spell it. So of course, if you just put for people, Chris for OroValley.com will get you there.
Awesome.
And then watch the show at Live the Dream Media. And I'm on everything but AM radio, as we say, just like you guys, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
X, Facebook, Instagram. Now we're on TikTok because I'm finding out TikTok's the place to be. So,
Well, we might have to end up there at some point.
Yeah. We're moving in that
I'm
direction.
telling you. So my guy
Giving
Dave
the
says,
Chinese some money.
Well, here's the thing. So my guy Dave, who's our CEO, says, I'm going to start putting up some shorts up on TikTok. I said, okay. So he says, dude, it was like 50,000 views in 3 hours. It was a ridiculous number with a whole bunch. And I go, well, what was the content? He goes, it was you and Bruce Ash talking about the price of a kilowatt hour of electricity. I'm like, what? What the hell?
Well,
I mean, at least
in this day
Bruce knows
of
something about
AI,
something.
in this day of AI and data centers, I guess that's definitely relevant. People are paying
I
attention.
said, Bruce, I told Ash, and he's in his 70s. I said, you're now as hot as some chick showing me her new outfit she got at Ross. Good job, buddy.
Good job, Bruce.
Well, thank you for all you're doing. Thanks for keeping up the fight down there, my friend.
Well, thank you for having me on, and we're going to return the favor and have you guys on if I can wake you up early enough in the morning.
Oh,
to
we're already up.
come hang with us.
Yeah. We'll make it
before
happen.
Thanksgiving.
We're already
Alrighty.
up. We just have to get out of our workout clothes.
That's right. Thank you,
that'd
Chris.
That'd be even better. You guys with your ring lights you have as you're doing your workout videos. I know you guys.
Exactly. Well, thanks for being
All
here,
right,
brother.
guys, you take care.
Take
God
care.
bless.
Thanks, everybody.